Hi there, I'm Shavik, and today's topic is very interesting: when to use Kanban and when to use Scrum. So, normally, people who are new to Agile they are always confused about which framework is better, Scrum or Kanban. So, most of them think that Scrum is Agile or Agile is Scrum, which in fact is not true at all. So, well, we can't say that one framework is better than other. Each one of them has their specific area of use, and each one is better for solving a specific problem. So we need to understand the problem first before answering this question. So a hammer is better for fixing a nail, but not for a screw. And of course, you can cut a board with a screwdriver, but a saw would suit your need better, isn't it? Right? As I mentioned earlier, people think Scrum is Agile and Agile is Scrum. So they are not even aware of any other Agile framework. So organizations are trying to fit in Scrum to, get into Agile ways of working without even understanding the problem area. So it's like when you have a hammer, every problem seems to become a nail, right? And you are trying to use hammer to get a job done, which actually needs a screwdriver. Yeah, that's very sad. We need to understand that be it Scrum or Kanban, both are frameworks that facilitate a team's commitment to agile principles while executing a task. So both are great in one way or other. The goal of both is to deliver more value for the business in the quickest possible time. So there is an assumption across the industry that Scrum is the best suited for the feature driven task that are mapped out to goals. Or on the other hand, the Kanban is used for incoming small pieces of work, mostly like the defect fixes or the production support tickets or even small enhancements. So which according to me is correct to some extent, but I'm not totally agreeing to it. I have a different opinion on that. Maybe I'll come to that at a later point of time during our discussion. It is essential to understand the need before deciding on which one to use, Scrum or Kanban. But if the work is time sensitive, it is advisable to use Scrum. But consider using Kanban when the focus is on workflow. Consider using Scrum for feature driven work with product goal or milestone identified. Or one can also consider Kanban for incoming small pieces of work, like how we mentioned, for the defects or the support work or the enhancements, right? There are situations where you need to combine both Scrum and Kanban. You can decide to use the approach of Scrum, but also apply the Kanban ideas, around visual management boards. So you see, be it Scrum or Kanban, none of these frameworks are exclusive, right? We can always mix them, match them as per team's need. Scrum Ban is one of such example. It's a framework, which is very famous nowadays. So, yeah, creating a hybrid of both is perfectly fine and perfectly acceptable if it works best for you and you serves your purpose, right? Let us first understand the basic difference in short. Yeah, I'll not take much time on this because we all are, Agilis and Scrum Master. We know what is Scrum or what is Kanban, but I'll just, at a high level, I'll tell you guys. So Scrum is more prescriptive, right? It is, good framework for feature development work where you have a bunch of features you need to build, and you need to build, and the requirements are likely to change quickly, and most of the time the requirements are not clear at the start of the project, right? And Scrum addresses complexity in the work by making the information transparent. Even this help the team to inspect and adapt based on the current conditions or the feedbacks that we get. It makes the team become more agile and discovering how to react quickly and respond to the sudden changes. It works on self-organizing and the cross-functional team principles. So, and it also promotes the changes and optimizations of product requirement and the processes. Yeah, at the end it all comes down to two things: prescriptiveness versus adaptiveness. So try Scrum when you need to solve organizational or process issue, and try Kanban when you can't seem to get away or anything done. And coming to Kanban, so Kanban is about evolutionary change. It is well suited for work where there is no big backlog, features to go through. Yeah, rather the focus is only on quickly completing the small pieces of work as they come up, right? And Kanban actually is designed to meet the minimal resistance. It doesn't require you to change anything from day one. Unlike Scrum, it doesn't require any role change. It doesn't prescribe any team size, or it also is more flexible about the meetings. You agree to that, right? So it allows continuous small incremental and evolutionary changes to the current process. It pays less attention to the time and predictability, unlike Scrum. Yeah. And it focuses more on the execution of tasks. So the basic idea in Kanban is mostly around the visualizing work, improving the flow, and reducing the work in progress. So it actually helps the team members to see the work in progress, and it also helps them to understand the complex information like processes and the risk associated with the complete work on time. Okay, let me share an experience with you guys, and it's about my current engagement. So I joined this team in December last year, and I'll quickly first tell you a backstory about the team, right? So the project is, about relevant dashboards for different businesses within the organization. So we were catering to the request for different set of businesses, and there are different teams. We call them product teams. Yeah. And to pull up this dashboards, we need to feed data into the Azure data lake. Yeah. So now the actual data is stored in a different source system, and it's available there, and our developers need to first ingest them into the Azure layer, before using them, to come up with our dashboards. So now what happened is, to cater to this ingestion request from all these product teams, the leadership team formed a separate central team. So the job of this central team is to ingest data from different source system into Azure as per the request coming up from the different product teams. So as all the teams were, and this team was formed somewhere in October, and as this all the teams, all the product teams were working in Scrum, even this team also started following Scrum as a framework. Yeah. So and then they onboarded me after 3 months around December to help the team with their ways of working. So after working with that team for around 3 months, and closely observing how the things are going, what I noticed is that the business value creation was not optimal. So for our team, the stakeholders are the product teams, right? So our stakeholders are product teams, but the actual value of work is getting realized when the dashboards are developed and the reports are actually used by the business and the end users. So though the team was working in 2 weeks sprint, the request to ingest data takes somewhere between 2 to 6 weeks, and sometimes even 8 weeks, depending upon the source system from where it needs to be ingested. Also the our sprint review, so the sprint review was more of a status update to the product teams, where we are going to tell them the where their ingestion requests are lying currently at the end of every sprint. Yeah. And even our refinement and the planning meetings, so they were more of a, prioritizing and reprioritizing the work. Overall, the work that our team was performing was not complex at all. So that was the bottom line. That's what I noticed over the 3 months of time. So the work the team is doing is like a set of known steps, which were like steps to ingest the data from the source system into the Azure. The steps keep changing based on the different source system, but it was pretty much same. And the only challenge was getting through this IRM approvals and the stage gates, and there are organization level controls which were put in the place. So there was a lot of dependency on other teams, and a lot of time gets wasted in getting those approvals. And I also started trying out to optimize this whole value stream, but as you know, this organization of this magnitude having such a legacy process in place, it is bound to take time. These changes will take time to happen. So so what I did is, I thought of, yeah, I even tried this Kanban board within Scrum for some time, like as it worked for me in the past, in my previous projects, but unfortunately in this case, it was not much of a help. So what was actually happening is that a Scrum board with to do, in progress, and done columns was too abstract, to track down the real issues and the bottlenecks, and everything was stuck in the progress. Few of the other areas of improvement which I observed were like lack of transparency of the current status of work, the way we are prioritizing the work requested by different product teams. It was really getting hard for the team to manage the delivery expectation from different teams, right? And the challenges and the blockers during agility work were not getting acknowledged and highlighted as it should be. Even the speed of delivery was slow, and it was kind of an issue even for the stakeholders, right? So altogether, it made me ponder over the whole scenario, and I realized that yeah, Scrum is not a good fit for this team. So what I did it is I made a proposal for moving the team into the Kanban. So I made few slides with all the points, the current state of the team, the pain points, the desired state, and how moving to Kanban will is going to help the team to achieve that desired state, and the benefits of getting into Kanban. So I highlighted the points which is going to increase the visibility and the synchronization between the teams, yeah, and frequent feedback loop, change in plan with weekly replenishment meetings, and few more points whichever like I thought like it will help me pitch in with my proposal. I jotted it down and I put it in the slide. So once I'm ready with my deck, I took multiple sessions. I reached out to multiple set of people. So I took some sessions with the team first, and then I took the session with the circle committee, the business sponsors, one with the stakeholders, which consists of the scrum masters and product owners from all the product teams. So the real intention behind doing this is to spread the awareness, spread the awareness to get their buy-in, get the buy-in from everyone, and to share a cutover date, like when we are going to make the switch from Scrum to Kanban. And it also gave me a runway to do the background work in parallel. So I used this time to create a new board, and achieve the archive the closed items, and migrate the ongoing and the open items into the new board. I also coached the team in this time frame on the what is the Kanban, what are its values, and what are the Kanban practices, and how we are going to uh, get fit into the Kanban ways of working, right? So I also worked with team to develop our own Kanban system to make sure that it represents all the steps to complete our ingestion work. And finally, the day came when we switched to Kanban, and everyone started noticing the change very soon. Like the value and the benefit, we started getting into the Kanban. So the coordination and the alignment of work between teams also improved. The developers took responsibility for the for the flow of work from the moment we have a new request moved into the ready to pick column. They take the responsibility to take it forward. And basically the golden rule that we have made is that if a task is not visible, we should not be working on it. Yeah, I also minimize the number of meetings, but make sure that the team has enough opportunity to inspect and adapt, and get the necessary feedback. So we had this daily hurdles on similar lines of daily Scrum from Scrum. We have the weekly touch points with the product teams to share the progress report, and also plan for the upcoming week. If there is any change in priority from their end, they highlight it, and we can adapt or move the things accordingly. Yeah. And then we have our separate PO connects to make sure that the backlog is up to date. If there is new things getting added or reorder needs to be done, then we have a regular connects on a daily connects of I used to connect daily with all the scrum master from the product teams to make sure that everyone is aligned and the expectations were managed well. And I also made sure that the retrospectives were held once every month. And I also introduced the Kaizen session or the knowledge sharing sessions where the team share knowledge with each other, and they also brainstorm on some process improvement areas. So it has been now more than 6 months, and the things are working great. So though I will say there is still scope for improvement, and we are actually keep on tweaking the process here and there, based on our own learnings or the feedbacks that we receive. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so one more thing. Yeah, so Agile Expert, one thing wanted to tell you guys. So, Agile Expert, they do not recommend Kanban if you're doing complex product work, right? Where you need to plan, gather feedback and use the feedback to inform your next, planning cycle. So Kanban doesn't really tell you how to do that, but Scrum has a great answers to how to operate there. Yeah. Again, it is not hard and fast rule, and I agree to disagree the above thought process. Even I have mentioned earlier, right? Like I was not agreeing to that statement that Kanban is not meant for the feature driven projects. So I think Kanban is a great way to introduce a new team into the agile ways of working, as it is designed to meet the minimal resistance, right? There are no prescriptive role artifacts and rituals, and it helps the teams, who are new to agile, to understand and enact the agile values, with very minimum coaching and hand holding. This new members, like who are new to agile, it Kanban helps them to impress agile in a good way. And uh, coming back to my own experience, I have successfully worked with teams in past to develop a new banking feature where the requirements were, kept on changing based on feedback and very frequently, and we were using Kanban and we were quite successful. Honestly, if you ask me, I believe that there is no one size fits all framework. Yeah. So multiple factors can affect your choice, like team size, the budget, the context, the client, the stakeholders, timeline, etc. So what is most important is to prioritize, achieving the mission over sticking religiously to one framework. Yeah. Agile is a culture, a mindset. Try different things, build, inspect, adapt, find out what bits of what pieces is working for you and your peers and your team, and of course towards the value generation. Yeah. Try to figure out like what is working in your eco space, right? Yeah. So yeah, before I end, one quick tip for you guys. Yeah, if you choose to work with Scrum or Kanban, take your time to master the dynamics and maximize it to your benefit. Check with your teammates, get regular feedbacks from them on which approach is working for them or which is more effective and why. So by exploring both Scrum and Kanban, you are setting your feet on the road of to success. Keep learning, keep evolving. Cheers.